Queen Elizabeth II's funeral is this morning. It's being held at King George VI Chapel in Windsor Castle. There we see members of the royal family proceeding behind the Queen's coffin as they walk it through King George VI Chapel towards the altar. The Queen's coffin being held up by royal guards. King Charles, the man in waiting of 73 years. His wife, now Queen Consort Camilla. Princess Anne in the background. Prince Edward and Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew notably not wearing any royal garments as he had been stripped of his titles due to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Then we have Prince William and Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, his wife right next to him, Duchess Kate, or Princess Kate now. Not sure if some of the tension had evaporated there in time for the Queen's funeral, but they are walking together. And there we see the Queen's crown ornamented with items and treasures from all across the colonial Commonwealth. The passing of England's metaphorical grandmother has evoked reverence from those who admired her and rebuke from peoples affected by the monarchy's role in colonialism. Here now a look at her life. Born in 1926, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary of the House of Windsor was not supposed to be queen. Her uncle King Edward VIII gave up the throne to marry the divorced Wallis Simpson, making Elizabeth's father George VI king. Upon George's death in 1952, Elizabeth became queen. She married Philip, a Greek royal, in 1947. The Queen of England accomplished several diplomatic milestones. In 1965, she was the first British monarch to visit West Germany, symbolic of a reconciliation between Britain and the nation whose predecessor committed the Holocaust. In 1970, she broke centuries of royal traditions by greeting crowds of regular citizens. 1986, Elizabeth became the first British monarch to tour the Chinese mainland just 2 years after the UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher agreed to return control of Hong Kong to China. And it was with the so-called Iron Lady Margaret Thatcher, the UK's first female Prime Minister, that Elizabeth often clashed. The Queen, along with a majority of nations in the Commonwealth, agreed to impose sanctions on South Africa over its apartheid system of racial segregation. Thatcher, however, thought sanctions were useless and negatively affected Britain's financial interests. The ladies also clashed over their views on the Commonwealth. Elizabeth saw it as a family of nations held together by herself, the sovereign. Margaret Thatcher, however, regarded the Commonwealth as an outdated vestige of the British Empire. Thatcher believed the Commonwealth didn't benefit the current Britain and gave money to foreign countries, some of which had unfavorable dictatorships. Liz II wasn't always warmly regarded. She and her family faced several scandals. The divorces of all 3 of her children, including Prince Charles and Princess Diana, in 1996. The next year, Elizabeth was sharply criticized as being aloof for taking 5 days to publicly address the nation following Diana's fatal car crash.
First, I want to pay tribute to Diana myself. She was an exceptional and gifted human being. In good times and bad, she never lost her capacity to smile and laugh, nor to inspire others with her warmth and kindness. I admired and respected her for her energy and commitment to others.
The pair reportedly had an icy relationship. In 2021, Prince Harry's wife, the divorced and biracial Meghan Markle, leveled charges of racism and isolation by the royal family. She spared the Queen in her criticisms. The tension was so great that Harry gave up his royal titles and moved to the United States with his wife and son in 2020. In 2022, Prince Andrew was stripped of his royal titles and military roles for his friendships with pedophile sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, who allegedly provided a teenage girl for Andrew to sleep with. The Queen's passing raises mixed emotions. To some, she's seen as a steadfast grandmotherly figure who was born into an institution and made serving her country her life's mission. To others, especially in the racially diverse Commonwealth, she is the personification of colonialism, a relic of white supremacy in an imperialist era that to this day lives off the profits of slavery. The icy reception Prince William and Princess Kate received in Jamaica testifies to that. Though the role of the monarchy increasingly shrank since the passing of the Magna Carta in the 1200s and the Parliamentary Act of 1911, the Queen and the monarchy still hold a powerful figurehead presence in the nation. The Queen is on all the money. The citizens pledge allegiance to her. The national anthem says, "God save the Queen." In many ways, the monarch is the face of the nation, despite the fact that the Prime Minister holds all of the power. The changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace raises questions as to whether or not the monarchy is still relevant and whether Brits will warm up to Charles as they did his mother. King Charles has been a man in waiting. At 73 years old, he is the longest-serving heir apparent in British history and the oldest person to assume his country's throne. Born in 1948, Charles Philip Arthur George was invested as the Prince of Wales in 1969. He met and fell in love with Camilla Shand a year later. Charles going to the Navy strained the relationship. On top of that, Camilla's lack of aristocracy rendered her unsuitable in the eyes of many to become princess, further leading to the couple's split. By 1973, to Charles's upset, Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles, who used to be involved with Charles's sister, Princess Anne. By the late 1970s, Charles met Diana Spencer and married her in 1981. They had 2 children, Princes William and Harry. Diana quickly became a public icon for her humanitarian work and her elegant fashion sense. She was seen as a warm breath of fresh air against the more cold and stoic royals. Despite this, Diana felt isolated by the royal family, including her husband, who'd resumed his affair with Camilla. The couple separated in 1992 and divorced 4 years later. Diana died in a Paris paparazzi car chase in 1997. Charles finally married Camilla in 2005. Outside of his personal life, Charles, unlike Elizabeth, was outspoken on many public issues. He spoke up on climate change before it was an international conversation. He founded the Prince's Trust to help young Britons get skilled job trainings. He advocated for alternative medicines and even got involved in national politics by meeting with and writing to government ministers about issues like the Iraq War and affordable housing. Despite this, he still has the stain of his treatment of the beloved Princess Diana attached to his legacy. Charles's reign will not last as long as his mother's. The question is, will he be able to ascend to the iconic status that Queen Elizabeth accomplished, or will he be a placeholder in anticipation for the next generation led by his son William? Zion the Lion for Channel Z.